And hello, welcome to the year-end list. This is a Valiant effort. My name is Steven Sislak. I'm here with your host, here with your co-host Ryan Morelli,
What up?
and one of the greatest daddies of all time, Cameron Levent.
Hello, hello.
So we have the most fun episode of the year for you. This is going to be the pinnacle. This is going to be the highlight. So if you haven't listened to any of the previous podcasts, listen to this one. And if you don't plan on listening for an entire another year, that's fine, because this one's the most important.
Well, I mean, you can still
No, I'm
listen.
But so, um, we have a very long-standing tradition here in this podcast. This group, this group of friends that goes much deeper than the podcast, of expelling our 10 albums, 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 sometimes albums. Wait, Ryan, have you gone to 25 or is...
I've done 20 occasionally.
Okay. I thought, yeah. But so we expel these albums of what our favorites are. This is also going to serve as a disclaimer right here. Personally, I want to say this is a disclaimer. These are my favorite albums of the year. I think we all know music is very subjective, and everyone has their own tastes and styles, and there's probably thousands of albums that were good enough this year to be a personal favorite. But yeah, just short disclaimer. How do you guys feel about that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's just if this is my list and it's my favorites, I'm not saying they're the best album of the year. They may be my favorite or what I think is the best, but it's not definitively the best album of the year. I mean, we very well probably have three different album of the years.
Oh yeah. So just brief history. Yeah, my album of the year last year was Twin Fantasy by Car Seat Headrest. Check that out if you still don't. You're not akin to that little alternative disco pop banger. Um, Go peep that one. You guys want to shout out any last year albums?
I want to shout out Safe Faces Mercy or Mercy um, from last year because that was a fucking banger and it was amazing.
Oh yeah, I got both those vinyls right on my wall right now.
Yeah, I got one of them.
Cam, so
No,
what do you want to shout out here, man?
just want to shout out to all the ones we lost on the way to this point. Uh, we lost a lot of rappers. Stop killing our rappers. Stop taking our rappers. Hashtag not my Kardashian. Yeah, that's about it.
We lost Juice World recently.
Rest in
Very-
peace.
Very serious. Rest
Yeah.
in peace to him.
We lost Juice World. I never, he never said anything about Juice World. I never really had any much love for the guy, but I just want to still respect him.
I got love for Juice World.
And you know it's hitting. Oh, I do too. And you know it's hitting Slump God hard.
Oh yeah, protect Slump God.
Protect Slump God. So, fuck, dude. So, does anyone have any topics? Should we just jump right into these albums?
Let's just do
These
our
lists?
freaking year-end list, dude.
All right, man. All right.
All right, I'm gonna go for the top of the dome piece here. These really aren't in any particular order. These are just nice little bangers that came out this year. Start this off with "Escape from New York" by Beast Coast.
Ooh.
Really, really good album from this New York rap collective. Yeah, they're on top of their game. It's Flatbush. You got Underachievers in there. It's a lot of good shit mixed into one album. Uh, yeah, really good album there. Ryan, I know you
Yeah.
listened to that one.
I did, and I actually forgot to put it on my list. It probably would have made at least top 15, maybe top 10.
Rip.
But
I would like
also,
to.
oh, sorry.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Well,
Um.
I was almost gonna see this band live. Well, not band, but like collective live, and it was going to be the Underachievers, Flatbush, Joey Badass, Powers Pleasant, Kirk Knight, and I think maybe one or two others, which is
Uh.
like, damn, dude. And um, it got canceled because there were threats of gun violence. And so whoever made those threats, fuck you.
I want to talk
And
about that because T Pain is exposing people. T Pain is exposing these artists, and he's exposing their live shows because supposedly a lot of canceled events, like for weird excuses like that, are because of low ticket sales. And T
What?
Pain canceled and like a whole tour, and he said, "I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. We didn't sell as many tickets as we thought, and the venues didn't like want to that we booked for whatever our tour. He booked too big of venues, and they didn't get enough ticket sales, so he canceled like a lot of shows.
Damn.
But he's saying a lot of these artists out here are not like doing the numbers, and they cancel shows, but then they'll give you like a whack excuse for it.
I would maybe believe that because it was at a relatively large venue. It was at like an amphitheater
Mm,
in the Detroit area. I want to say it's like Meadowbrook or something like that.
yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
uh, but it was like it was a pretty big venue, and we actually showed up to the like parking lot, and they're like, "Oh well, the show's canceled. Like you have to go home." I'm
Yeah.
like, are you serious? But I don't know. Like the rest of the tour, I think
It's
went
great.
off well. So like, I don't know if it was just that, like an actual threat or like an excuse, but I was sad.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought just coming from T Pain exposing people.
That is interesting theory. I like that.
Yeah.
All right,
I
next up.
also I do want to talk about sorry interjecting a lot, but pro era, the whole movement, Joey Badass. I was a huge fan of Summer Nights, 1999, these Joey
Oh
Badass
yeah.
classics.
Oh yeah.
I love the guy as an artist, and I know Cam, you were putting me onto this
Yeah, yeah.
pro era, this Beast Coast album all year, and I gotta say I loved everything I heard off it. Um, I'm in a like the reason I don't know it didn't make my list personally is just because I'm not super into rap right now, to be completely honest. But
Right, right.
I gotta say, love the guys, love everything you showed me. Underachievers, shout out to them. Every AK verse I heard from this album was fire, and the production too. I remember the production across the board on this album was
Yes.
fire. So
Yeah.
You
Really good
got?
production.
Have you Do you have like one or two favorite songs from this?
Gotta feed my powers. We just made a banger.
shout out.
Okay.
No. I mean, just the feed my powers. We made a banger part because that one's classic. But
All right. Want to move on?
yeah, moving on. Another Tyler the Creator album from the guy. He makes a lot of them albums. Happen to make my list. Tyler the
Wow.
Creator changes up a lot of his sound here and brings a little Playboy Cardi aspects, bringing up baby voice Tyler into it and different, tones of Tyler here that make you think. Tyler is more than just a one-dimensional guy.
So
This
this is
is
Igor. We're
Igor.
talking Igor.
Igor, yeah, I'm sorry, Igor.
Okay. Wow. I'm very surprised that you were putting this in your top five.
Yeah, I
I
recently
didn't.
just got back into it. He released a couple of songs that never made the album, and that's what got me back into it because the songs that didn't make the album blew me away. But I was like, damn, gotta check the album out. And yeah, really good album.
Isn't
Interesting.
this one more like R&B kind of jazzy flavor than the typical Tyler the Creator rap?
Oh yeah, a little more like, yeah, definitely a little more bubblegum, Al Greenish a little bit, I'd say.
Am I seeing too? He performs in this Igor persona. Is this what happens at Tyler the Creator shows nowadays? It's like Every time I've seen him like performing,
Yeah,
he's
does he?
got the wig, he's got the suit, like he's like snapping his fingers and shit. Like,
Honestly, I think that's cool. Like, I like that.
yeah, I mean, he's doing him, and I respect it. I respect it. I know Earthquake was a huge banger, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Earthquake.
Fuck with Earthquake.
Brockhampton Ginger is another one.
Okay,
Ooh.
are you going to number 3 here?
This is no particular order, but I'm starting from the bottom-ish.
Okay. Are we doing? Okay.
So
10
Brockhampton Ginger.
or 5? I don't
I
know.
think it's like 8. I got 8 of them on here.
Cool.
So I think it's number 5. We got Brockhampton.
I can.
Ginger. One of my favorite boy bands. Very cute. But this one, I don't think stands up to the other 4. For sure. Like the first 3 are definitely classic. Then there's the other one, which is really good. And then there's this one, which is definitely not bad. Like people are saying this album sucks, but it doesn't suck at all. Like it's a good album. It just doesn't compare to the other ones.
I
Okay.
definitely agree
agree.
with you.
I agree.
And it's weird because this is like probably their most polished album, like
I disagree with
sonically.
that. Well, I kind of agree with that.
Like it's kind of like so they went and recorded it and they took their time and they like made sure everything was clean sounding. But in a way, you kind of don't go to Brockhampton for that. You
Yeah.
kind of go for to them for like the wonky like
You want that
off the
fuzz.
wall stuff, the fuzz, dude. You just you don't you don't need Brockhampton to be like at the pinnacle of like audio cleanness. You just want them to be like what they are, and that's like
Right.
do it themselves, like cool shit.
DIY boys out the ass.
They're just a
like-
boy band, dude. Like
DOA as fuck. But like, I gotta say, Iridescence is definitely the one I've gotten into most, but it's also my favorite. I think it's like sonical cleanness, sonical,
Sonic-
sound, like you know what I'm saying.
right.
Sonical cleanness. Iridescence was like their peak because I don't know, maybe it's just subconsciously like knowing the lore Abbey Road, you know,
Right.
something about that whole like just idea and vibe of Brockhampton being in like Abbey Road Studios, like
That was cool.
recording that album, like it just makes that I don't know,
That was
gives
cool.
me a weird sense of like this is a super well polished like mix and master, which I think it was. I think
Mhm.
Iridescence is super clean, like on the audio side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the performances, I feel like some of it was a little bit sloppy, but like almost in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's Ginger is still a really good album. Like I definitely
Yeah, like it's not bad.
They're bringing
Yeah.
a lot of guitar. I noticed on Ginger.
Oh yeah, a lot of guitar,
Like,
rap.
They're trying to, yeah. I don't know if it's riding the X wave or it's they're doing that as their art. You know.
Guitar rap is in. Everyone's writing
It
the
isn't.
X-Wave.
It isn't.
Yeah. All right, so now we're moving into the upper tier. Things are going to get a little more heated up in here. Actually, before we cross over, I want to my last one, the number 4, before we cross over. Earth Gang, Mirrorland, finally dropping their debut album. It's been like 2-3 years from these guys. What have they been up to? They dropped this little banger, which does not disappoint. Does not disappoint. I'll tell you that. They have one of the most beautiful hip hop instrumentals here of the year, which is hard to do for matters I'm not going to explain now because it's coming up after this album. Funny enough. But yeah, man, really good album. I know you guys never really got into Earth Gang, but they're like the new Outcast.
I did get into Earth Gang, but I haven't gotten into this latest album that much. But from the singles, like I knew it was a fucking heater.
Yeah, just southern, southern rap, kind of like Outcast. 2 guys. Yeah, really good. But that
I want to call them Earth Gang.
Earth Gang. All right, guys, we're going into the second half here. So this is where things are going to get serious, okay? We're going to start this one off with what one do I want to put here? All right, I'll put it here. Scarlord.
Okay.
British rapper. Only British artist to probably make any of our lists.
Wow. Lay down that pipe, brother. Lay down that pipe.
Yeah, only British guy to probably make any of our lists. Man goes really hard. He's British. He knows how to flow. DIY. So
But it's Scarlord. So he's got the whole Marilyn Manson thing going, right?
yeah, it's Star-Lord. He's like Ghost Main. He's bringing it spoopy. He's bringing it hard. You know what he's gonna do, but he does it good.
I'm actually not familiar with Star-Lord.
Scarler is really hard. He was like a small time YouTuber with a small following, and then he just decided he wanted to be an artist, and he started making 3 YouTube beats a day, and then he got super big and blew up.
But doesn't he, like he has like face tats and shit like that, or is he just like does the Marilyn Manson like face
No,
paint?
I don't think he is fake. No, that's Ghost Main.
Okay, that's Ghostman. So Scarlord's different.
Yeah, Scarler doesn't have face paint.
Okay, my bad. I got 'em mixed. I got 'em mixed.
What is the album called?
Infinity. It looks like a PS1 cover art.
That sounds dope.
But I don't think you're gonna like it. It's a little harder than probably what you're into. It's like rap, rap metal. People call it
Oh, okay.
trap metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Scarlord, I had to put you guys on there. I had to put a sneaker in here.
Any favorite songs from that album?
Yes. Going the distance.
Nice.
Um. Okay, guys. The only non. Actually, there's 2 non-hip hops. Flume. Hi, this is
Ooh.
Flume's self-titled album that came out in January. Yeah, Flume, guys. Actually,
This is
really.
hi. My name is Flim. Like or whatever. This is
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't know if he released a new one or not after
Yeah,
that.
that came out in January. I think this is some of the most cutting edge sounds we've heard. The man just brings like instruments you've never really heard before. He plays with diamonds. He plays with jewels. You're like, that's not an instrument. Well, Flume disagrees with you.
I agree. I agree. It is cutting edge. It's cutting edge by all means of the word.
Right.
Slow tie. Can we talk about slow tie on that album too?
Yes, slow tie with the British flow coming in great.
Coming in clutch.
Coming in clutch. Now, Friends with Flume, we're in the top 3 here. Top 2, I think. Friends with Flume, this is back to rap. JPEG Mafia. JPEG Mafia is one of the most promising producers to ever, not ever, but in recent years to come into the hip hop scene. Because there's no one you can compare JPEG to. Maybe like Flume, in the
I
way that
agree.
he's like abstractly layers his like tempos and shit. But like JPEG Mafia, all my heroes are cornballs. Is everything JPEG does, but a little more like poppy for the main demographic for mainstream, I'd say.
It is, but it's dude. Weirdly, that album's not super accessible. Like, it's it is poppy, but it's so like abstract.
Like it's still like yeah, it's not ever gonna be on the radio, but I feel like you could show this JPEG to somebody without like screaming. It doesn't have as much screaming or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I'm only familiar with this because Dylan showed it to me. Dylan Murphy, shout out. Um,
Shut up.
and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Like maybe I have to listen to it more, but it seemed really experimental, really like out there and not too like caring about making it mainstream. So like it was cool. I enjoyed it, but I don't think it would have made my list or like
Like front to back, this album is gonna catch you. It's just gonna catch you.
we listened to at least half of it and I was just like this is a whole lot to take in.
Oh yeah, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot of sounds.
The entire album, I will say, reminds me a lot of "Because of the Internet" by Childish Gambino.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
I mean, I think it's very similar. It's a very similar album. Like in terms of story arc, like
Yeah.
where's this person going? Like I don't know. It's just like this experimental, really polished. Like this album is super polished, and I think because the internet was the first album Childish Gambino did that was like over the top polished, like even more so than like Camp. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This is my thoughts, bro.
All right, guys, top 2. You guys want the non-hip hop one, or you want the hip hop one?
I want to whatever order you think is you
All right,
know,
get this out of the
album
way. You
of the
guys already
year.
know it's coming. Turnover, one of my favorite bands.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Yeah, they made their third, well, not their third, actually, their fourth or fifth album. Altogether, really good jazzy sax boy banger of.
Yeah, yeah. It's a chonky boy in like fedora, you know, with the
Yes. This album has fedora written all over it. It's great. But no, man, this is gonna bring you back to like those infomercials in the '90s, or maybe like Bob Ross intro. Thing about like Bob Ross intro with the music, it's just got that like '90s feel with like the very
yeah,
cheesy like science movie sounds that your teacher would
yeah.
show you, and like it's just great
Like keyboard,
nostalgia.
like some dude hitting all like 10 keys on a keyboard with every finger. Like, I know what you're saying, bro.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
The synths, and everything like that. It's cool.
So Ryan, you love these guys, but you didn't catch this album apparently.
No, I don't really care for it.
Interesting.
I mean,
Hot
we
take.
talked about it on a recent podcast, but I just feel like Peripheral Vision was awesome. Good Nature was alright, and this one was just
Damn.
Well, it also shows the band straying more and more away from emo music.
True.
So I think that could be a part of it for you, Ryan. Would be my guess.
maybe.
True. It's a big thing.
I don't know. Like they're just not an emo band anymore by any means.
No,
Yeah,
not
I
at
agree.
all.
Yeah. So
All right. Last one, guys, and I'll
Is-
send it over to you.
Is this album of the year?
I don't really do album of the year for me, but it'd probably be between these two, Turnover and this one.
Okay.
okay.
This one, Revenge of the Dreamers 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Where do we begin with this one? It's got like 40 different artists on it. It is the Dreamville compilation record. Jesus, where do you fucking begin with this thing? It's got like 20 songs. And they just come together, and Dreamville does something that no other like record label's ever done, which is put together like an actually good compilation album.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Aside from Escape from New York.
Well, that's not Beast Coast though. Or I mean, that's not Dreamville. That's Beast Coast.
Yeah, but it's a good compilation album.
Oh yeah. You're right. This compilation album is just really good. I mean, you got all of Dreamville in there. They got some of the most like standout songs of the year, some of the most iconic songs. They got funny stuff on there, like 1993. You've been smoking weed. Yeah, it's just really fucking good, man. I was really happy with this album. You got any artist you like, you're gonna find something on there for you. You like a rapper, that's probably gonna be on there.
Yeah, they have features from DaBaby. They have features
That's-
from like all kinds of different artists that aren't even on
Rick
Dreamville.
Ross, yeah.
They have everybody from Dreamville, so we got JID, Boz, Earth Gang, J. Cole,
J.
of course.
Cole.
Like, this shit bangs.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I did get to see JID live this year,
That's hype.
and it was really good because it was at Mopop in Detroit. It was outdoors. It was really fucking hot, and I think that's the only artist that we saw at Mopop because
Yeah.
it was so hot we wanted to leave. But he was really good. He did all of his bangers, and then he did even a few songs from Revenge of the Dreamers. I
Mhm.
think he did Costa Rica.
Hmm.
And then he also did Wells Fargo, which is like one of my favorite songs on that album.
That's
So
fun.
it was really
So-
cool.
So DaBaby is not Dreamville.
No, he's not, but he's
But he's
featured on
blown
it.
up.
He has had a breakout year.
Yeah.
DaBaby has had a breakout year. He's on
Yeah.
everything. He's got ice dripping from him at all times. Yeah, that's I see him on social media everywhere. He's just huge. Just wanted to throw that out there. I see DaBaby. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the baby's got mad love for him right now, man. Everyone loves the baby, but you know, everyone loved fucking Blueface too.
Yeah. But
You know-
Blueface is, dude. I'd say this is also Blueface's breakout year. Was
Oh, yeah.
2019. He was huge.
Wait, is this
Blueface.
what when Bust Down came out, or is it last year?
I don't know, but this
I
is the
think
year
it
where
was
he's
last
gotten
year.
like the social media attention. Like everyone's tweeting about Blueface, Snapchat story, like what are
I
those
don't relate
Snapchat
to that.
articles? Like
Yeah.
it's all about Blueface and DaBaby these days, and it used to be Takashi. Takashi had it in 2018. I digress. Um,
So yeah, that was my end of the year list. It was a really good year. Definitely a good year for me, guys.
All right.
can I talk about one more breakout artist that associates with Dreamville, or
Yeah.
is
What?
signed as Ari Lennox? Um,
True.
she has just made waves this year.
I don't think she's popped off though.
She is on this album, I think.
Yeah, she's got one of the best parts in the album.
Yeah,
But
Ari.
I didn't know she was like popping off in her own career.
I think she is, dude. I've been seeing stuff like, not like the baby or like Blueface, but like Ari Lennox, dude. People are like
Yeah, no.
very big fans. She has a good fan base. Very
Yeah,
solid.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Great list, man. Great list.
Thanks, man. Wanna
Interesting.
throw-
You keep us up to date on all the hip hop in the year. Like, love it, man. Love it.
Wanted to hit you guys with some curveballs.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some stuff out there you never heard about.
Oh,
Yeah.
So who's next?
I don't know, Ryan. This is gonna be tough. What do you want? Do you want to go first? Do you want to go second? I'm kind of good with either because they both have a nice spot.
You can do yours.
Okay. 2019. Let me just start out by saying this year has blessed us with some very great albums, with the good, the bad, the ugly, the happy, the sad. Um, do you want to save honorable mentions for the very end? Is that the move here? Because I got
Yeah.
some honorable mentions too. Okay, that'll be at the end. Um, my year was, I'll say, mostly chill, mostly kind of more somber emo kind of. That's the phase I've been going through. Um, so like, I think Pine Grove. Um, they didn't release any album this year, but stuff like that. So you'll see a lot of that kind of alternative emo style across my list. But let me start it off with number 10. Number 10, we got Basking in the Glow. This is an album by Oso Oso.
Okay.
Really, really solid project. This is their second full-length album. And wow, I will say this is the year of sophomore albums. There's a lot of great sophomore albums that came out this year from bands. Um, but Oso Oso really hit the nail on the head with this one. They keep it airy, they keep it ethereal across this album. Very, godly. It's weird. But a lot of those smooth, like electric guitars, a lot of softer melodies, and then they'll sprinkle in some like little acoustic moments on this album that really just kept me going all night. Kept me going all night. Did you guys familiar? I know I shared Charlie with you. I know you're familiar with that song.
Yeah, Charlie was really strong and a powerful song. It really triggered me. It was very emotional. But as for anything else on the album, nothing really ever impacted me on that emotional level as Charlie. But I think Charlie's incredible. Master.
Charlie is the last song in the album for everyone listening. Definitely check that one out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know really much of this album. I couldn't really get into it. I don't know if it was because I was like, I don't want to say bored, but like nothing really like jumped out at me on
You didn't like
first
Charlie?
few listens. I don't think I got to it.
Yeah.
Mm.
See, that's Charlie. I was on the same page as you until I hit Charlie, and then it kind of makes you realize what the album is trying to do. But I definitely get why you say that, because it's nothing on this album is in your face. Like in your face, like holy shit, like I want to show all my friends this.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie would be like the most out of that. But it's very like you know, introspective music where you can just have it on and just enter your little matrix pod.
All right, next one.
So, climbing up the ladder one rung, we have our number 9 album. This is Morbid Stuff by Pup.
Ooh.
This is a band that we have been following for years. Ryan Morelli, the man you hear on this podcast, was very early adopter of this band. He was preaching about this band for years before their mainstream success.
Oh yeah, first album, first LP. They're
Hmm.
self-titled. I was on that.
Yes, yes. And you put me on it really hard when The Dream Is Over came out. That was a 2016 album, I believe. Maybe 2017.
I think I put you on
20,
that one.
2016.
2016. Yeah, but like, I mean,
I
we all
put the
knew it
whole
was.
squad on
Yeah,
Pup.
it was like Ryan behind the Pup movement because he was like, it was like the dog, like the hot mulligan. Like you just know he's been talking about this band for so long, and I've never listened to it. That when you finally listen to it, it's just like, okay, Ryan, like I see what you do. I see what you you scheme on the underground, and I respect it. But so about Morbid Stuff, this is, I believe, like, is this an independent album? Ryan, do you know?
It's
On their
on
own Little Dipper
Little
or something?
Dipper, yeah. Which, cause
So
they were
this is
signed to
their
Side One Dummy. Side One
yes.
Dummy kind of collapsed,
Hmm.
and so everybody that was on Side One Dummy would have to sign with someone else or just go independent. Pup had such a massive following that they could actually afford to go independent, and so they made their own label essentially.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Called Little Dipper. I knew they were releasing it under Little Dipper. I didn't know if that was like maybe under the umbrella. They kind of worked in a deal with another label, like they were under the umbrella of another label. But
I'm
I
not
love to hear
completely
that this is
sure about that,
independent.
but I think it is just their own thing.
Yeah. From everything I read, that's what I gathered. But um, it's a great project. The music on this really hit. It's if you're going into it expecting the dream is over, which I think a lot of people were, because I think that is the album that brought them their mainstream success. A lot of people were probably going into it wanting another the dream is over,
And it's
but
really
that's not what it
not.
is. It's not at all what it's supposed to be. But it's really solid. It stays true to who they are as artists. Like it really sounds like a Pup record through and through. Um, some highlight tracks, Bloody Mary, Kate and Ashley, one of my favorites. I don't know, Ryan. Ryan, I'm almost sure this is gonna be on your list, so
Yeah.
do we can save some of it for when you go through your list, because you'll, I'm sure, have more to say about it, a little more.
Yeah, we'll go over it later.
Yeah, all right. I'll just keep going then. We'll save number or Pup Morbid Stuff for a little bit later. Number 8. This is one that the culture loves to hate this album. The culture thrived this whole year, 2019, on hating this album, and I think that's part of the reason I liked it is because no one gave it a chance. People read this entire album at face value, like, and it's an amazing album. And that is The Big Day by Chance the Rapper.
Really?
Yes, this is my number 8 album of the year. Everyone, everyone memed it. No one gave it a chance. Everyone loved to hate it because the day one reviews. The day one reviews come out. People see, oh, this is an album about Chance the Rapper loving his wife, which whatever, like in his wedding day, whatever. Like you can say what you want about that, but that's like that's a side note to how good this album is. The features, the verses, the bars, the beats. He's evolving. Like that's what I wanted from Chance the Rapper, and I love to see it.
Can I say something about this?
Yes.
I fucking hate this album. And it is honestly the worst Chance the Rapper album I've ever heard in my life. I think I'll ever hear. I wouldn't be surprised if he stopped making music. Like,
No.
bro,
No.
No
it's
way.
so fucking bad.
That's
And,
There's
so
no
unfair.
way.
That's so unfair.
like, dude, 10 Day was amazing. Acid Rap was amazing. He had Surf, which was it had some bangers on it. This was a fucking
Coloring
huge
book.
letdown.
Cannot forget coloring book.
Coloring book was alright. I'll give it alright. But the big day, oh my god. Hot Shower is probably the worst song I've ever heard in like the past
Dude,
few years.
that
It's
song is nice.
it's a fucking meme. Like it's so
Dude,
bad.
rap is has always been a meme in a way. Like
No,
meme
that's
tracks are
not
huge.
true.
Baby voice Cardi. Let's talk about baby voice Cardi.
Yeah, but
That's a
this was
huge
just
meme.
so like tongue in cheek. It was bad.
Wait, but Baby Voice Cardi is not a meme though, because it's actually good.
But so is, dude, Hot Shower. This album is great. Hot Shower, I will say, is a great song. I like it a lot.
I
And
please don't play it around me.
I don't think the album's that bad, dude.
you tell me,
Like,
dude, they got the Gucci Mane feature. They got the features on it are really good. I mean, the Nicki Minaj feature
The features are
is
not the problem. The problem is like Chance just like fucking around and doing weird shit. Like he's not.
that's what he's always done though.
Yeah, but it was good in the past. Like, like I don't think he knew what he even wanted to do with this album, and I don't care about the subject matter. The subject matter is fine because like I am monogamous. I'm engaged. Like I relate to it, but it's just very poorly done.
That's fair. That's fair. That's your opinion. And also, I think it proves my point though. The culture just love to hate this on the day one reviews.
No, I gave it a chance, and I don't mind the subject matter, which is why everybody hates it. But yeah, I just didn't
Yeah.
like it because of the other stuff.
Well, I loved it. I want to end it on a good note on this album. God damn it, this is my 8. You know, this was a great album. They had a Ben Gibbard feature on there. Chance the
True.
Rapper really went out there and got a Ben Gibbard feature.
I'll respect that.
Like, jeez, thank you. Like, I love the man. Chance the Rapper, you outdid yourself in my eyes, and I still love you. Let's move on to number 7. This is an album everyone's gonna be very familiar with, uh, in some regard. Um, that is Ruby by Matt Karekis.
Caracas.
Karakis, sorry. um, this is the Citizen frontman. If you're familiar with the band Citizen, Matt is the lead singer of that band, and he releases some solo work too. Luna and the Wild Blue Everything was his previous album before Ruby, and 2019 brought us Ruby. So really solid project on his end.
I
A
could
little more poppy, a little more experimental in that regard.
I can say a lot of stuff about this album.
We can save this one too if you want.
We could.
Let's get back to let's go back to Ruby. We'll talk about we'll dive deeper.
We'll put it on hold for now.
Moving on to number 6. This is one that I'm a little surprised flew under the radar for a lot of people. This was LP3 by American Football. Um,
Oh.
very good, very well made, classic American football sound. Explored some features. They got a Haley Williams feature on there. Um, really
Another
cool.
one?
No, just that's the Haley Williams feature,
Oh, okay.
and really cool project. More not as depressing as some of their past work, but depressing enough to still feel like American football. You know, um, yeah. So this is LP3. Just some backstory on this. American football is a little, math rock, uh, emo band, kind of from the Northeast. I'm just gonna
Midwest, I think.
yeah, Midwest,
Somewhere.
Northeast, somewhere in there. Um, and so they released American Football, their self-titled record, long time ago. I think 12 years ago or something, 11, 12 years ago.
No, there was more than that.
Really?
That thing came out like almost near the 90s. Like
Okay.
2001, I think.
Okay. So wow.
I think
Yeah, very
2001.
long time ago. And then huge hiatus in the band. And then just recently we've gotten the last two LPs. So there was LP2, and then this year brought us LP3. So it's a very interesting band with a great sound. Definitely would recommend if you don't know much about American football to go explore their
Oh, I'm sorry,
discography.
1999. So it did come out in the 90s.
Wow, wow. So yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyone have any thoughts on this album? Did anyone listen to this album this year much? Um,
I listened to the Haley Williams feature and I wasn't impressed, and then I didn't listen to the album.
well, I'm very sad that was your experience because this album isn't about the Haley Williams feature. Like that was a glancing thought on this album. You know,
I
like they
never
did it to
really
do
got
it.
into American football though, like in general.
It's fair.
You were never on the train,
No.
brother.
Choo choo.
I know. It's like
Leaving the station, bro.
it's weird to have an emo head that doesn't care for American football, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, to each their own. I'd recommend this album. I'd recommend you getting into more than the Haley Williams feature because that's really not what this album's about. It's a great song, and I love that song, "Comfortably Numb," featuring Haley Williams. But this album is much more than that song, and I would recommend it to anyone, really.
Okay.
That's like literally anyone. I'd recommend this to my parents. I'd recommend it to my grandparents. You know, anyone who
Dom.
can. You know, it's really good music. It's solid music that I think a very wide array of people can appreciate.
When did they make LP2 or LP3 or LP2?
LP2, I believe, was
LP2.
2017.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I thought that one had the Haley Williams.
No.
No, dude, they're on three, baby. They're back. American football's back. Like they were playing for like 20 years. 18, I guess. But they're back.
Wow.
Um, any favorite songs on this project?
Favorite songs on this project? Let me pull up a track list for 1 second. Okay, yeah. So track two, well, track one, Silhouettes, is really cool. This was their single, I think their lead single off the album, and it's track one. It's very experimental and not what you're expecting. Um, Bells and like chimes uh, kind of lead you into this track, and then it kind of hits the guitar and the drums and the math rock, and you're in it all at the same time.
Wow.
So definitely recommend Silhouettes.
Okay, I like the cover art. They're giving it the classic American football treatment.
Oh yeah, classic football treatment. Doom in Full Bloom would be another one.
That's an
This-
8-minute banger.
Yeah, all the dude. You don't listen to one of these songs for like a little quickie. None of these songs are quickies, dude. This is an 8-track album with 47-minute album with 8 tracks. So take that as you will. Do the math. Um,
Yeah.
these are very long, drawn out. Like you got to give this one time. You got to sit on it and just incubate in the chamber that American
That's
football puts you in.
that's how all American football is. Like you got to be down for the ride because it's a slow burn. I mean, you're gonna hear a lot of you're gonna hear a lot of horn, a lot of trumpet before you hear any vocals.
That's true. It's true, but it's good. It's very good. So that's my number 6. If no one has anything else to say about American football.
Another great band, classic. Yep.
Okay. Number 5, we're moving into a band that actually was top 2 or 3, maybe 4, I believe, in 2017. This is Free Throw. They made the album What's Past This Prologue this year, or they
Mhm.
released it. And in 2017, I think they were my number 4 with what's that album? Called?
Bury Your Mind.
Bury Your Mind. Yeah, sorry, brain farted that one.
Hmm.
But amazing project by Free Throw. Another great one. These guys don't get enough credit for what they're doing out there at the scene. They're slamming shows. Everyone's going crazy every time. This album is a classic Free Throw album. Like, they really do make classic albums. Yeah, the dude drinks too much. We get it. He drinks too much, but he's discovering himself, and it's always a uh, what's the phrase for it? It's a coming like I feel like Free Throw albums are always like kind of coming of age stories in their own way.
Mhm.
Like he's always learning more, and but it's real. I don't want to like say that to kind of I don't want to knock his artistry because he's always coming from reality, and you can tell. Um, and really cool album, and it actually has now my favorite Free Throw song of all time, and that's the title track, the last track, What's Past This Prologue. I like it more than Two Beers In. I like it more than anything off Bear Your Mind. Randy, I Am the Liquor, all of that. Um, this is my favorite, and I think the best Free Throw track in their discography.
It's a good one.
We got
That one
overlap.
made me. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We got overlap. I got this on my list too.
Okay, yeah. I'm not surprised about that. But yeah, I will just say he says it's the day I finally learned to say I love myself. It's the last really peak moment on the album, and it's really amazing. I would highly recommend if you listen to this album, either just listen to that song because then you'll like get on board, or listen to the album front to back. But do not just like listen to the first song or two and then leave because
Yeah,
you're really
agree.
doing an injustice to this album.
Hard agree.
Yeah. So we can touch on that a little more when during Ryan's list. So I'm
Oh
going to move
yeah.
on to number 4. This is a band that I have been following for a very long time. Still a very underground band. This you could say this is my hot mulligan. This is my dog leg for Ryan. This is when I scraped off the bottom, and not in a bad way. I saw them when they had 40 Twitter followers, and I was like, why does this band make such good music? And that is Camp Howard. They released their sophomore album, another big sophomore album, and we will keep seeing this theme in 2019. Huge year for sophomore albums. They released Canyon. That's Canon. Um, yeah, this album was really fun for me. Really excited to see them still out here, still pushing limits, pushing boundaries, and finding their sound. Um, don't know how do you guys did anyone I know I blasted it out when they dropped because I was super excited. This is their sophomore album. So how do you guys feel about Canyon?
I felt like it had a lot of influence from like 60s and 70s rock. Um, did we talk about it on a podcast?
We did go. You can go back to that episode, yeah, if you.
Um, it was good. Like it was good, but it wasn't like blow me away enough to make my list. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to take away from the fact that it was a good album and like I appreciate what they were trying to do. Um, I thought it was really cool that they're bilingual, or if they aren't bilingual, they found a way to make a song in like completely Spanish. um,
Yeah.
when the
No,
rest of it's in English.
they they did that actually on their debut album, Camp Howard, self-titled. So I do believe the lead singer is fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, that's really
Um,
cool. I like that a lot.
I'm looking at their Spotify page now. This is a breaking Camp Howard news alert. Um, it looks like they have removed their self-titled album, their debut album, from their Spotify page, which is really sad to me because that album's amazing. We all know Camp Howard. Camp Howard has a really special place in my heart. Um, so maybe you'll be able to find it on YouTube. Find it. That album slaps. For anyone listening out there. But I'm really sad to see that's not on their Spotify anymore. Really, just disheartening because
Could
I
be a
think that was
copyright thing or something.
could be. We'll see though. Um, Yeah, I know. I definitely caught that album the most. It's very fun, very upbeat, very um, kind of poppy. With the guy's got a nice voice, so definitely check that out if you're looking for some nice 2019 albums. And now I hit the Birdman hand rub because we are in the top three, and my number three comes from hell itself. This is fire. This is brimstone. Everyone is not expecting this. This is something that is going to have a lot of hot takes, and it's going to twist a lot of nips.
Oh
You know what
god.
I'm saying? So, and I'm not sure if anyone even caught this album or listened to any of it. There's a little album that came out this year called Breathe. Just Breathe. And that is by Tiny Moving Parts. This came out in September, and I have two things to say about this album. Magnum opus. This is the best Tiny Moving Parts album that has ever come out. No doubt in my mind. This is better than Celebrate. This is better than Swell. This is boundary pushing. I would like. So, have you guys heard about this album? Have you guys tracked it at all or seen it?
No.
I would ask you to go look up the cover art right now. Cameron, I know you're a forest guy, you're a green guy. This is has you written all over it.
Really?
Digitalized, pixelized the wolfie, like in a. You just got to look up this cover art, dude.
Okay.
Little wolf just in the forest, and you're gonna see it, and it's gonna let you breathe. It's gonna let you
What?
exhale. It's like,
No
oh my gosh,
way.
this is the vision. Tiny moving parts is hitting something. Like, I was so taken aback by this that it just, you know,
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it.
it really took me by surprise. If you listen to two tracks, this is for everyone out there. Two tracks to get into this album: Vertebrae into Polar Bear. Yes, they have a song called Polar Bear on this one. So these two tracks will immediately just get you into this album and make you like immediately you're just gonna be like, oh wow, yeah, this is Tiny Moving Parts' best work. This is different than anything they've done, but it's still got a very Tiny Moving Parts feel.
Hmm.
And this is admits a lot of negative press surrounding this band regarding some allegations on the lead singer. I don't know a lot of the details, but I also don't concern myself with a lot of those when it comes to listening to music I like. So I know there's a big part of their fan base and their scene kind of fell out from under them after these allegations because that's kind of how the emo scene is, how their touring scene
Well,
is.
that's why I haven't heard about the album.
Yeah, exactly. This came out in September. No one's seen it. No one's heard about it. It's magnum opus material. It's really sad to see, but I am hoping that it just takes people a little while to be like, oh wow, that one's a banger. So, Ryan, I know you are the original Tiny Moving Parts fan. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was on them in their first album and like their next few, but like I purposely avoided this one because I do not support abusers and I do not listen to their music, so I'm not going to.
But do we even know what he has done? In a truth, this might be a good. And you know what? Honestly, maybe we should save this conversation for just an entire episode on itself.
We could,
But
but yeah, he admitted to it, so like, yeah, we do know.
I mean,
Did he admit to it?
Yeah.
Where?
what did he admit to though? Like, what did he do? Why?
Yeah, Ryan, you're the guy that believes everyone is automatically guilty. So I want like actual. Did he actually say this? He
Dude.
abused.
He fucking admitted that he was sorry and then blah blah blah. And he put out a
Yeah,
fucking
admitting you're
apology.
sorry doesn't mean you did it though.
Yeah. Why would you apologize for something you didn't
Because
do?
a lot of people are just sorry they got caught. They're not actually apologizing for their actions. They're just
Exactly.
apologizing.
That's why I'm not gonna support him.
Yeah, but what did he do? I have no idea what he even did. I don't think
Sexual coercion.
Yeah, but that's
anyone
saying-
can say they're sexually coerced because
yeah.
sexual activity is a coercion at the end of
Dude,
the day.
I'm not about to have a fucking like
You're right. We're saving
podcast
this
about
for-
consent. So
We're about to do that on next week's episode. Tune in. It's gonna be a
It's
heater.
gonna be spicy.
It's
I
gonna
don't
be
know if we're
spicy.
gonna do that, but we'll
We're
see.
Oh,
gonna we're gonna have to have a talk about that one.
We're gonna
because
have to.
the album is important enough to have a talk about it because I'm so sad, Ryan, that you refuse to enjoy this album because it's the best time. Like, this is what the band was born to do. Like, all their albums up to it was just leading up to this moment.
Dude,
And,
I don't care because I don't support abusers.
well, I knew this take would be spicy, so uh, I'm happy to I'm happy to throw it in there. But yeah, this is my number three. Like, I am serious. This and it only made number three because I discovered this like literally a week and a half ago, and I just haven't had time with it to really make call it my one or my two. But
Mm-hmm.
immediately it just blew me away. It and I'm scared. I'm scared because I know it's been my banger, like my go-to jam for the last week and a half. This entire album, any song on it, and I know it's gonna just still do that for the next 2 months. So this is one you guys are going to hear about for a long time. This is one that's going to be deeply integrated into my culture and into my brain. So we'll have definitely more
We'll have
conversations
to have a
on this
talk.
podcast about this album and about the whole stigma around abusers and why that's unhealthy.
No, I don't think it's
Or
about it.
healthy.
It's not about abusers.
It is.
It's about yeah, what what do you want to listen to music for?
No,
Enjoyment
but
or to judge
you're
people?
only. So what if I'm a rapist? You guys are gonna listen to my music because I'm not an abuser. That's what I'm saying. It's about
No,
talking
I'm
about with
not
the
gonna listen to
artist.
it.
It's about the artist, like if you agree with their morals or not, and separating their art from them. It doesn't have to do with like that's what it's about. Not if they're abuser or not.
I don't have to separate the artist and the art.
Okay. Well,
I'm just saying,
the
like we don't endorse rapists. Like the abusing thing, it's
we don't endorse rapists, but
But you kind of do if you listen to their music. Anyway,
no,
let's move on.
because okay, moving on. But actually, I do want to end on that note, just for the podcast people who actually want to listen to this album. If you want to immediately get into it, just put on Vertebrae, the song Vertebrae, and it will go directly into Polar Bear. Um, Forwards, Vertebrae into Polar Bear. That's all you got to know. Just hit that. Let's go on to number two. A great album coming out of the first quarter of this year was Berkeley's on Fire by Swimmers. That is
Okay.
SWRMS. It's not spelled like you typically spell swimmers. So if you go to search them, it's going to be capital SWRMS. And they released.
MRS.
Oh, you're right. SWMRS. There we go. Berkeley's on Fire is a very artistic, very experimental, I would say, project that they released. They play with a lot of sounds. They play with a lot of styles that we've never really seen before. They're going for a very, you know, eclectic, poppy art deco, just bang, like hit you with like some art museum shit, you know? Like you go into a modern art museum and like that's what Berkeley's on Fire is. And I think it's super cool because they're just incorporating it really well into their sound, their pretty traditional, punk rock kind of sound. But I thought this was super cool. Cameron is actually the one who put us on Swimmers for their debut
yeah.
album, Drive North or Head North,
Drive North.
Drive North. Um, yeah. So yeah, Cam, how do you thoughts on Berkeley's on Fire by Swimmers?
Yeah, I love this album. They hit it hard. They pretty much do what they did on the last album. They just turn it up a little bit, break out the Cali a little bit more, break out the
Yeah,
punk a little bit more.
I would say it's an improvement from. Uh, I would say it's an improved album from.
Dude, I don't know about
Better.
that.
I gotta say it's better in my eyes. They got just too many bangers, dude. Trash Bag Baby, Lose Lose Lose, Berkeley's on Fire, the title track. Like, dude, there's just so many like
I put it
fun,
even
in your
with the other one.
face bangers that I would put it. I'd say it's better, but
Okay.
you guys are putting it pretty even. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
fucking love Drive North. I think it was incredible. And
I do too.
I think
I like
Berkeley's
it
on
a lot.
Fire is also incredible and is on my list too.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Berkeley's on Fire, number two. Check it out. Lose 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 is
Wow.
my favorite track.
Surprised that made
Same.
number two. That's crazy.
No, yeah, I really love that album all year, and I think honestly it helped that it came out so early in the year because it's just so many memories throughout the year of just that's what I listen to. But that's how that goes. So we've reached the pinnacle of the year for Steven Sisolak. You guys probably know what album I'm about to talk about, but the
I
people
think I
don't.
do.
So this one's really important to me. Has really changed the way I think about music. Maybe that's a stretch, but this is the album Panorama by Michigan natives La Dispute. Um, we are from Michigan, just for everyone listening, just so everyone knows. That's why we stay in Michigan. We love the lakes, we love the state, we love the forests and all the coyotes we got up here. So, La Dispute is a hardcore band that has been in the scene for years.
I'd
They
say
have a lot of
post-hardcore.
post-hardcore. You say tomato, I say tomato. It's Italian. But yeah, this band has been around for years, and they have a lot of very important albums to people. I'll be real. There's a huge cult fan base for this band. Um, I'll
Dude, I
say
don't know if it's
Wildlife.
called every white girl knows their songs.
That's not true,
Yeah, a lot of people know their stuff.
dude.
They have a
I
pretty
don't know.
cult following.
Dude. It's cultic as fuck, bro. A lot of dispute. Like,
Yeah, dude.
dude, not every white girl knows a lot of dispute. I'd say very few white girls know a lot of dispute. Like
A lot.
within the scene of people who go to shows and who go to like that type of music, yes. Like La Dispute has a solid fan base amongst white females,
But not
but
in general.
not in general at all. Not in general at all.
Yeah,
La
but they're like
Dispute.
probably the biggest post-hardcore band there is.
I don't think that's true.
That's. I'm also saying that because like I'm acknowledging their past albums are extremely good and extremely important, and I'm not calling Panorama. I'm not coming in here like I did with Breathe, saying Magnum Opus this is the best thing they've dropped. I'm saying this is something very new and very interesting and kind of outside of the box a little for them, but well maintaining their sound. And I love it. Um, this album was constant rotation since I first heard it, and it still has been. Fulton Street 1, Fulton Street 2. It's theatrical, it's dark, it's grandiose. It really just brings all these sounds in, and it's so it's so lyrical and it's so just mind fuck deep that it's honestly hard to get into. It did take me a while to get into it, and you really got to start like knowing the songs before you really start to love this album. But once it cracks into your your central core, it just does something special to you. Um, Very cool, different vision too. If you guys know the cover, um, La Dispute has not really had that kind of artistic direction before. It's very light. It's pastels,
Mm-hmm.
heavenly. That's kind of what they're going for on this. It's very cool. A lot of classic La Dispute. They got the spoken word in there where he'll just go off for like a minute, just like fucking you up with some deep shit. And
Classic La Dispute.
yeah, so I just I can't say enough about this album. I know you guys were probably expecting me to put this, but for anyone listening who has not heard this album, definitely like sit with it, let it stew in there because it's heavy, it's dark, but then it also gives you these moments of wait, like there's light at the end of this tunnel, and we're all going through a lot of shit. Like not to get deep here, boys, not to get preachy, but I'm about to cry because this album means so much. Like it's really beautiful, really beautiful. Um, and I just think it's the most impressive project that I heard this year, and that's why I had to put it number one.
Righteous.
Or I just did.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I feel like I don't know.
Say it, dude. Come on. I can handle it.
I feel like they did make a really good album. Like you're definitely right. Like that's it. Like the music videos are really good.
Yep. They also
They
do the new Spotify things.
yeah, they capture the art portion of it really well. And like they're doing like classic La Dispute shit, but like La Dispute like had the same formula for a long time, so they couldn't have made this album if they didn't change up anything, because it's like La Dispute has always done La Dispute things, and like their third EP showed that. Like yeah, but well, it was received very well. Their third EP, it was their third EP doing the same shtick over and over, and he still kind of does that. I mean, it's still same La
Yeah.
Dispute, but they bring in a lot of new elements to it, and they like bring down some. They bring it low, between the peaks. They bring it low.
Yeah. It's one thing I noticed about this album too is they really bring it low, like in volume between the peaks. Like they'll really, I don't know if that's intentional. They make it like really fucking quiet, and he'll be like just barely like, I was under the tree in northern Michigan, like just super. You can barely hear it. You're turning it up, and then they'll just fucking drop it like super heavy on you, and just I'm in love. I'm in love. It was love at first sight. Um, thank you, La Dispute. If you guys ever hear this, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for sharing your art with the world. And honestly, any band that is mentioned in this podcast, it's because you guys touched lives. And yeah, thank you guys.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time they touched you, because La Dispute was like one of the first bands that I showed you that you actually got into.
Yeah, that's true, dude. And Wildlife. I remember getting into that album,
Yeah.
and it, you know the song in particular. You know the one that all the white girls know.
No, that's the first one. That's not Wildlife. The
Oh,
one
you're
that
right. You're
everyone,
right.
yeah,
But that's the river, or what is it?
yeah,
Like the
River,
bottom of a
such
river.
small hands or something.
Yeah, such small hands is the first song that ever got me into La Dispute. But I think that's the same for most La Dispute fans. Like
Oh
that's
yeah.
the first song you hear, and you're like, holy shit, these dudes hit it.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so that's my list. Thank you, 2019. Kisses.
Yeah,
Ryan, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, no, go ahead.
Ryan, I mean, now's your time to flex. You know,
All
this is
right.
it. You're up, my G.
So 2019. I did listen to a good amount of albums, but I didn't venture off the beaten path too much out of like all the stuff that I would normally listen to. Last year I had like 20 albums on my top list, and I didn't want to do that again this year because one, I didn't feel confident naming 20 albums that I really, really got into, and two, I didn't want to have a super long podcast. It's like 3 hours long, so I didn't want to do that. Um, we got 10 albums. A few of them actually have been mentioned already. Um, but yeah, this is just my top 10 favorite albums. Not gonna say they're definitively the best albums, but I'm confident that they're the best in my eyes. Also, I want to play a little game for each album. You guys have to guess if I have it on vinyl.
All right, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, so
Can we keep
number.
score? Can I get a note card out and keep score? And
Yeah, yeah, you can do
whoever
that.
wins between me and Cam gets a little like cookie.
I'll gift you a little candy bar or something.
All right, sweet. Little Kit Kat.
Oh yeah, you can get a Kit Kat. So number 10, we already did talk about this one. It's called Revenge of the Dreamers 3 by
True.
Dreamville Records. Um, I mentioned that I saw JID live this year. It was really good. This is a great posse album. It's very cohesive. Like, you feel like it's just everybody out to flex. Everybody is going to bring their A game, bring their best bars, their best beats, everything. Um, I think some of the best songs are. I have to name a few because there's a lot of good ones on here. Wells Fargo is a fucking banger. Um, Down Bad is probably like one of the most like catchy,
Yep,
like
love that one.
easy
But
to bob your head to songs.
I'm a slut, so I love that
um, Costa Rica is really good. Um, Obviously, Middle Child is like one of J. Cole's best songs, I think. And it's just him in that song, it's not anybody else, but I still think it makes top of this album. And the last one I want to talk about is Sacrifices,
one. Oh
which
yeah.
I think is the last one
Yeah.
on this album. And that one, everybody just goes hard, and the dude from
Mhm.
Earth Gang just like flexes really hard.
He flexes, dude.
So,
I do regret that J. Cole did not put the Earth Gang dudes verse last.
yeah, he probably should have, but what can you do?
That song is so heat.
Yeah, but
It's
you need J.
fire.
Cole's verse last.
I understand, yeah, J. Cole being the last verse on the last song of the album, like, you
I
gotta.
disagree. I think it's more respectable to just put the heat on the last.
That's true. It could go either way for me.
Like, dude, if the last part of that song, I mean, yeah, I guess we're cutting onions with butter, but yeah.
So, do I have this album on vinyl?
No.
No, I will say no as well.
Alright, you guys both got 1 point.
Hey,
Nice.
amigo.
All right.
So, number 9. We got Fake Blood by Heart Attack Man.
Okay.
Heart Attack Man is a pretty well known in the pop punk emo scene band. Um, their lead singer Eric has a huge social media presence, and he is known for feuds with Hot Mulligan and a
Yes.
very punk-like persona online. Um, I've actually got the opportunity to see them live twice this year,
Nice.
and they put on a really good show each time. One was at Excellency Music Fest, um, around like August, September, and I thought it was really good. They had the whole crowd up on their feet, doing circle pits, doing walls of death. It was fucking sweet. Um, the second time I saw them was just recently, um, in Detroit at the shelter, and they had pretty much the same thing going on, but on a smaller scale. And I don't know, they just put on a great live show. I think seeing them live made them get onto my list because if you listen to the recorded stuff, like it doesn't grip you as hard as it would if you would have seen them live.
Mm.
So I think if you like, some of the songs will really get to you, but some of them are just like you need to see it live to really appreciate it. Best songs I think are "Fake Blood,"
Hmm.
"Out for Blood," and "Cut My Losses," which is a fucking banger.
I did peep. I would say peep this album, um, because I didn't really deep get into it or anything. But it gave me a big Green Day vibe. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, kinda. Like, I could see that for sure.
Seems like an influence, but
Like their
I
whole like shtick about being like a punk and being like like I'll fight you if you want like shit like that.
yeah, it's a cool shtick. I see Eric from Heart Attack Man on Twitter all the time. What up, Eric?
Shout out
Um,
Eric and Heart Attack
I,
Man in
s-
general.
I see your camo Yeti cup. It's a cool cup, man. It's a cool cup.
All right, do I have this on vinyl?
I'm gonna say yes because you saw him twice.
Cameron?
I'm gonna say yeah.
Nope, 0 points for you guys.
What?
Ooh, okay.
I almost
Okay.
did. I almost got it, but I was broke, so I couldn't buy it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
Fair.
number
That's fair.
Come on.
so
Okay.
number 8, we got another overlap. Ginger by Brockhampton. which we already talked about this. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I really think it had some very high highs and
Oh
some
yeah.
just not any real low lows, but like stuff that didn't live up to the highs. Like I think Sugar is a fucking sweet song. It's very like melodic. The harmonies are beautiful. The whole song structure is good. Um, there's not a whole lot of rapping in it. A little bit, but it's like mostly like singing. And then like songs like No Halo and I've Been Born Again, like I think they were singles too, but like I really think they pushed out the forefront of like their good songs to the front, and the other stuff they kind of just, I don't know, it's not bad in any means. Like the rest of it isn't bad, it's just a little bit more forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um
What's the one with the heavy bass and Joba going off? You know, every Brockhampton album has one of those.
I you might be thinking of I've Been Born
It's like
Again.
something about God. It's something about, oh, born
Yeah.
again. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's Born Again or something.
Yeah, that was like one of my favorite songs on here, but
Yeah, that dude Joba. Whenever Joba gets a wet bass track and like a crisp snare, he just knows. He knows he's
like
gonna have the
shit's gonna
heater.
pop off.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did it on Iridescence. Like we all know what he did on Iridescence. We all saw what he did. He made Baby Yoba. He made Baby Yoba.
Baby Joba.
Oh my god, that needs to be a meme.
Baby
Baby
Joba.
Joba.
That needs to be
So,
a meme on Twitter. You'll get recognition.
Yeah, true.
do I have this on vinyl?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Actually, no. Yeah, I said no.
Are we giving Cameron credit for that?
I don't know. I'll give him credit. I'll give him...
All right, Cameron's at 2, Steven's at 1.
Dude, you've not owned any of your bottom three on vinyl.
No, I haven't.
It's throwing me off because like I'm going into expecting you'll have a lot, but
I mean,
and then
we'll
I'm
see.
gonna undercut.
We'll see.
Okay. I'm saying yes for everyone.
All right, so next one. This is another overlap. We got Berkeley's on Fire by Swimmers.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really think there's a whole lot I have to say about this because we already talked about it, but it's just a really solid album. I had it in my Spotify Wrapped. At least a few songs from it were in my Spotify Wrapped. I think one of them actually made top 5 songs of the year.
Damn.
Nice.
It was
a
probably,
Trash Bag Baby.
I think it was Lose Lose Lose,
Yeah, that one.
because that
That was my most played.
goes off. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but do I have it on vinyl?
No. I'm gonna regret that so much.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yes. All right. Tie game, boys. Tie game.
What are we at? 3-3?
We're at 2-2.
2-2. Okay. All right. We got one overlap that we already talked about. Morbid Stuff by Pup.
Oh yeah.
This is number 6. And what did I want to say about this? It came out. I think it came out around March or May, maybe April. I don't know. One of those. And it was in my heavy rotation like for a while, and I almost feel like I played it too much and maybe got sick of some of it. But I did not feel right putting it anywhere below like number 6. I think 6 is honestly the best place for it because it's not top 5 material for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like right after that. So 6 is a perfect place to put it, and I just really feel like it's great, like standard Pup. They go even more in your face, tongue in cheek, like very blunt in this album. Like I can't think of the lyrics right now, but it's something like he was like talking about how somebody didn't like in the song. He's like, "Oh, you don't like the way that I talk about you in songs," but then he just continues to do it. And like he did that in like DVP, like your sister thinks that I'm a freak and stuff like that, but he just like blatantly addresses it in this one. and he
Yeah.
just keeps doing it. And I think it's hilarious. Um,
Can I? I just remembered this. I don't know why I didn't say this when I went over it, but Pups, The Dream Is Over was my number. I don't remember about you guys or Ryan, but it was my number one album of 2016.
it was my number 2 of 2016, and it's really fucking good. Like everything Pup puts out is amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't gotten into this band, I would recommend all 3 of their albums to you. Like they're all incredible.
Yeah. It's just interesting to see because they went from number one to number nine, which obviously you don't expect a band to get number one on two consecutive albums, but for me they went to number nine. For you, they went from two to six. So really solid. Like
Yeah, that's like
the
if you
fact
make
that they
my
can
top
make your
10,
list, yeah,
then
twice in
you're
a row.
good.
Yeah, like you're a great band.
All right. Do I have this on vinyl?
Oh yeah, you got that one. I know it.
Yes, definitely.
Correct. I have the first
Oh
press
shit,
pink with magenta out of 900.
that's
Of
pretty.
course, that does not surprise me.
So
That was an easy one.
we got 3-3.
3-3, baby.
All right. Okay, so next one we're entering the top 5. This is I did talk about it on the podcast, but it's a fucking heater, and I don't think a lot of people have given it recognition. It is New Hell by Greet Death, and um, this is a Michigan band. They are somewhat like indie rock, like a little bit of shoegaze with a little bit of heavier instrumentation sometimes. Um, it's a very slow album with songs that are easily up to 5 minutes and longer. Like one of them is like 9 minutes long, but you don't even really notice it when you're listening to the album because it is so like well done and so structured perfectly that you're like, wait, that was 9 minutes. Like I didn't even realize that I was spending so much time listening to this album. It just works so well. Um,
Okay.
some of the good songs on it are like "You're Gonna Hate What You've Done," which is I don't know what track that is, but it's like one of the longer songs. Um, "New Hell," the title track, and "Do You Feel Nothing." I also want to mention the subject matter is kind of dark, and like I think there's a bunch of like demons. It looks like on the on the cover, like it's like a bunch of people on fire and like car crashes and demons and shit. Um, but I fuck with it. It's really cool. Obviously, it's like new hell, so like it makes sense.
Yeah.
But they also have, I think they have 2 lead singers, and I really regret not seeing this band live because I was going to, but it was in Grand Rapids, and um, I live in Toledo, so that's like 3 hours away from me. But I'm going to see them soon. Like every other time they've been around me, I have had like to work or I've had something come up and I haven't seen them. But it's gonna happen. 2020, it's gonna happen. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
they have 2 lead singers because one of them sounds kind of like Smashing Pumpkins guy, the lead singer.
What's that guy's name?
Billy Corgan.
Billy
Yes,
Corrigan.
one of them kind of sounds like him, and I kind of hate making that comparison because I feel like a lot of people probably do, and he probably gets sick of it. But it's like sorry, I had to make that comparison so people understand. And then the other one is a lot more like mellow, like low sounding. Like he has a low voice, and it's just like the two of them kind of just switch off. They don't ever really sing together unless it's like a backup like melody, but they
Are
switch
you
off on
sure
different songs.
it's two different? Like, how sure are you that it's two different singers?
I'm not sure.
Because some aren't like some singers will just have like two voices they use. You know?
That's what I'm saying. Like I want to see them live so I can know for sure,
Yeah.
but I would be surprised if it was one person. So, to greet death, I'm sorry if I'm assuming the wrong things about your band, but I really, really enjoy New Hell, and I'm like a huge fan now. So I will see you live and I will find out. And I'm sorry if
Okay.
I assumed that there are two lead singers and there's not. Anyway, do I have this on vinyl?
No.
No.
Wrong.
Wait, I'm gonna say fuck, dude. I was gonna
Whoa.
change. I gotta get that. That's gotta count, right?
What?
I was gonna
Yeah, I'll
change.
give it to you. I'll give it to you.
All right. Okay.
Alright.
I do have this on vinyl. It is clear with gold and black splatter, and it's out of 500.
Nice.
So what's the score?
It's 4-3. I'm
Okay.
up one.
Okay. All right. Next one. This is. I think the next two are overlap, and then the other two are, not. So, we got Ruby by Matt Carcass. Um, at number 4. This is a very impressive album, and he's the lead singer of Citizen. I know we already mentioned that, but um, I talked about him in my year-end list of 2016 with Luna and the Wild Blue Everything. I believe that was at number 4 in 2016. So we're back to number 4 again, but like considering the differences in years, like both of them are pretty tight. So like the fact that he got number 4 twice is pretty impressive. Um, so I got a chance to see Matt perform live at Culture Clash in Toledo, which is my favorite record store. Um, I actually live right by it, so like when I heard he was doing an in-store performance on release, the release day of his album, and all you had to do was come in and buy the album, I was like, I was gonna buy it anyway. Um, so I was like, it was on April 19th is when it was released, which is also 419 day for Toledo, because Toledo's zip code, or not zip code, area code is 419. So like he's really repping Toledo by releasing his album on 419 day and having a intimate record release at the record store that is like what Toledo's known for. And I was like, this is so fucking cool. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed it. He played the album like pretty much front to back in the store, and it was like mostly acoustic. They had one of those drums that you like sit on top of and like hit it with your hands.
A
Box
cajon.
drum?
A cajon is the technical.
I think yeah, it's a cajon.
I thought that was just called the box drum.
Well, the official name
Technically,
is
it's a
cajon,
cajon.
but it was really cool. I was really like into it. This is another album that I would recommend to like anybody, like honestly, because you don't have to be a fan of emo, you don't have to be a fan of like indie stuff like I am. Like it's all just pretty music, and you can. I would honestly feel comfortable giving it to like anybody in my family, any of my friends. Like very accessible music, and I think the best songs are probably the title track "Ruby," um,
Mhm.
"Diamonds," which
Oh
is
yeah.
a banger. And
Second
then
single from the album.
I would say Hawthorne
Oh yeah.
goes in really hard, especially with the when the drums come in.
Can we talk about the song "Autumn Dress"?
And that was my last one, Autumn Dress.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful song.
The falsetto in Autumn Dress.
Mhm.
Oh my
When
god,
he
to
hits
die for.
it's right in front of you. Why don't you see it?
Mhm.
It's just
Mhm.
so nice.
So do you guys have anything to say about this album? I know it was on Steven's list. What number was it for you?
It was number 7 for me.
Okay.
So
So
I would like to also say he did a cool re-release of this album called "Ruby from the Garage" or Garage, depends where you're from. Ruby from the Garage. It's a cool little like acoustic. Like honestly, it sounds like he just like recorded this in his garage and it's like was playing all the songs, but it's super cool. So it's like just more songs or same songs, different style, but like a cool different way to listen to it. If you're like in a a less polished, you're sitting around the campfire and you just want that garage feel.
yeah. Oh, I also did see him at L Club too in Detroit, and he did a full band version of all these songs, and it was really good.
That's awesome.
I love the guy.
And
So
he's looking thick. He's really making muscle gains in a
Yeah.
great way.
yeah, Mance is out here flexing.
Yes, it's great to see. His legs, his shoulders, stuff. You know, yeah, me and Amber, like GF went and saw Citizen, um, with Knuckle Puck this year in Detroit, and he was just wearing the greatest thigh gripping jeans, like straight, straight off the farm, dude. He's corn fed, he's looking big, and he's gripping that thing. So, hey, we love it, Matt. Keep it going.
All right, what do I have this album on vinyl?
No. Actually,
I'm gonna let Cameron make his decision first, then I'm gonna put my final answer.
I'm gonna say yeah.
I am gonna say yes, of course. You just told us you bought the album when you went and saw him.
Good detective work because I do have this album on vinyl.
Alright.
It is the cream variant, and I could not find the pressing info, so I'm assuming it was like some kind of special edition because I had to go to Culture Clash and pre-order it.
Yeah.
So might be limited. I don't know.
Cream color. Wonder why.
Um, it matches the album though.
It's true. Alright.
So this is our last overlap. We already kind of talked about it, but it's an incredibly important album. What's Past is Prologue by Free Throw
Ooh.
comes in at number 3. They have been one of my favorite bands for a long time. I've seen them live multiple times. If we look back to 2017, they made my number 2 spot with Bear Your Mind. Um, and honestly, I wasn't expecting a new album for a while because Bear Your Mind was such a banger that I was like, alright, I could
Yeah.
probably sit on this for like 4 years.
They could have toured. Like, look what they did with the, you know, 2 beers in.
Those days are gone.
Yeah. Didn't they tour on that for like 5 years?
They toured on that for at least 3 or 4 years, but like probably could have kept going with Bury Your Mind.
Oh yeah, they could have.
Um,
For sure.
this is a really good like conceptual like introspective album. It has a lot of like really like rock out like I'm gonna fucking go ham at shows kind of songs. Um, but honestly, of their 3 full lengths, this is gonna be a hot take, but it's not my favorite. It is probably my least favorite of their full lengths, which is a weird take because it's still incredible.
If you're looking at the entire album as a whole, I would probably agree with you. But it also does have my favorite Free Throw song of all time on there. So it's, you know, it's definitely not bad.
Oh yeah, like me saying it's my least favorite Free Throw album is like it's still fucking awesome. Like it's still number 3 of this entire year.
Oh yeah.
Um, I will say it's lyrically very dense. It is very like there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to go through. Um, and it came out in March, so I had a lot of time to sit with it and like really dissect this album. Um, because you got songs like "The Corner's Dilemma" where
Hmm.
there's so many lyrics in this song, and there's so much like content that you really have to just go through and be like, all right, what is he actually saying here? Um,
But then, like, at the end of the day, it's just kind of like The Corner's Dilemma. I love that song. It's a huge banger, and it's amazing to see live and, like, so much energy in that song. But at the end of the day, it's pretty standard emo song. Like, that.
I don't know, dude. It's pretty like dense. Like there's a lot of shit in there.
I mean, they're. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. The lyrics are good, but that whole trope has been fallen into by emo scenes of, like, I'm at this party, and I don't want to be at this party. Like, we've seen that before.
Yeah, we have. Like Modern Baseball has like a whole album about it.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like it was approached in a different way this time.
Yeah, it's a great song. I love that song, but you know, that's just some of the things you think about when you hear a song like that.
I also want to say that this coming out in March and still being at my number 3 spot is really impressive because it has a lot of staying power. Um, and it has like if you have that much time to sit on an album, it could be like Pub where it falls down to like number 6 because I'm like, I don't know if I'm still feeling it, but this stayed at number 3, so I'm.
Yep.
It was probably gonna be my album of the year, at least for like a good half the year.
But then some shit happened.
And then we got some shit. So, um, yeah, okay. Best songs are The Corner's Dilemma, Monte Luna,
True.
and What's Past is Prologue.
And I will throw in Anaconda Vice on that list.
I'll allow
Anaconda
it.
Vice is one of my favorite on that album. So, but all great songs. Yep.
All right, do I have this on vinyl?
I'm gonna say no.
Cameron?
No.
I do have this on vinyl.
Wow.
It is red with yellow splatter. It's the pre-order exclusive out of 300.
Wow. I do have this on vinyl as well, actually. I have not opened it, so I don't know what color it is. But
What's the score?
it is.
Tied.
No, it's 5-4. It's 5-4. I'm up by 1.
All right, well, let's see what goes on in the next two. All right, we are at top 2, baby. This one has not. Actually, neither of these have been mentioned yet. Number 2, runner up, we've got Cosmic Thrill Seekers by Prince Daddy and the Hyena.
Can I add? This is another sophomore album. We're seeing this theme. Sophomore albums, beautiful.
Oh, yeah, Great Death was also a sophomore album, and I think Ruby was too.
Yes, yes, I forgot to mention it or no, I think I mentioned it when I went through Ruby. I
I-
said this was sophomore album at Crackie's, but
I,
yeah, we're seeing this theme.
I also believe Heart Attack Man's album is a sophomore album, but I'm not completely sure about that. But when it comes to Prince Daddy and the Hyena, I know in this group at least a lot of us are actually all of us are really big fans of I Know You Didn't Even Like Leaving, or
Mhm.
however you say that.
That
However
is
you
one of
say that name.
honestly, that's one of my favorite emo albums that's ever come out.
And I really, really, really think that Cosmic Thrill Seekers is on the same level of that. And I want you guys to try and get into this album
I
because.
don't agree. I don't agree.
But have you given it a chance?
Yes, I have given this album a hard chance because I really loved their first album and I wanted more of it. I was longing for it.
Wait, did we say Cosmic Thrill Seekers is their sophomore album?
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I think they have more albums before that.
I mean, they have like splits with Mom Jeans, right? They got some weird shit. I don't know. I think this is their sophomore like label release, actual like being a band's touring band.
They have they have an EP, so I guess this is their sophomore album. But I really believe this is a fucking incredible album. Like this was another one that was going to be my album of the year because it's super ambitious, it's very adventurous, very like uh it's just a huge endeavor for Prince Daddy and the Hyena, and it pays off. It is super fun, like you're cosmic thrill seeking, dude. It's an energetic masterpiece. Like
It's zany.
you're going
It's
through
definitely zany.
space on a fucking rock expedition. Like what more do you want? It is through and through just a great emo album with like pop punk, like just the vocals. That's one thing. The vocals really have to grow on you a little bit because at first you're like, all right, Corey's voice makes me like kind of like hurt in the throat a little bit because I feel like, damn, how is he like able to talk after that? But then you're just like, you know what? It works. Like it really works, especially when you listen to like the first track, "I Lost My Life." You're like, all right, he might need a
It's one
throat
of my favorite
lozenge,
tracks on the album.
He might even throw it last.
but then it goes into Lauren, which hot take right here. I think this is on the same level of the transition between "If This Tour Doesn't Kill You, I Will" and "DVP" by Pup.
I can't. I can't. Nope. I can't. Would I can't. Nope.
You can't what?
I can't. I can't agree to those terms. I read your privacy policy and I'm not signing up.
All right, dude. Well, you know what? I think you could listen to it more and you could really feel what I'm feeling here.
Dude, I listen to this album a lot. I will say that I did really try. But, this is another one of those things where for me too, I feel like I don't know. There's just something weird about the scene where when an artist is poised to do something like this. And it doesn't even have to be about how good the music is.
What are you talking
Does
about?
anyone know what I'm talking about here?
No.
Wait, what?
Like, Prince Daddy and the Hyena, based on who they were as a band, was poised for their next this album to be critically acclaimed, loved by everyone, which it was. This was making top 10 lists of the year on a lot of different sources. And I think that's part of the reason why, I don't know, call me the dude who just likes,
You
uh,
being a hipster?
yeah, call me a hipster. But I just don't think it was as good as, like, people gave it way too much credit this year. And I think it was, like, I'm not one to hate on anyone's art. Like, yeah, it's good. Like, the dude's talented, the band is talented. I've seen them live and I love their previous albums or previous album. And I'm not trying to take away anything from him, but I think this album specifically was one of the most overhyped albums of the year and got too much credit.
Damn.
Duh.
Just based on Twitter, just based on what I see,
Dude.
like the alternative is giving it like number two album of the year. Pitchfork is talking about it. Like, it's just like, come on, guys. Like, yes, they were poised to do this, but I could have told you that this album was like it could have sounded like anything and had any theme,
No.
and it would have got this much attention.
Dude, are you
As
are you
long
serious?
as long as it was an absolute dookie, yes. If it was absolute dookie, then it wouldn't have done this.
Yeah, but
And
it's
that's
you're
why I put
taking
him in
away from
credit.
how good it is.
I just don't think it was that good. I listened to it a lot, and I really just didn't see it.
This has like it's a very cohesive like almost it almost is like a concept album. And I think it's really well done. The only complaint I have about it is that it's maybe too long.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Sorry, I think I just lagged out of the call there for a second. Thought we'd get through a podcast without that happening, but I guess it's not possible. Um, sorry, what were you saying?
It's like this is a concept album that is really well done. It feels like a masterpiece to me, and the only complaint I have is that it's possibly too long. They could have maybe cut some of it, but that's the only complaint I have.
I think it is less interesting and less fun personally for me to listen to, and I get less enjoyment out of it than their last album. I think it's a step down, but I
Maybe
also
you're
think his
comparing
voice.
it too much.
I think his voice is like he fucked it up, dude. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it.
What do you do
I
to his
know it.
voice?
Have you heard the new album?
No.
It's really like he sounds like he needs a throat lozenge, but it works.
I mean, it works because it's got emotion and like, but
But he
it's
did that on his first album too.
not. It wasn't nearly as bad. I
Sad
don't know.
boys.
I think it was overrated, but hey, that's my take. I respect it. I know this album's gotten a lot of love, so it's obviously a lot of people love it. 30 Days of Minecraft videos. Uh, that was just a little meme on the before this album was released.
Why were they poised to blow up so hard?
Because they were grinding for a long time, being the opener and having amazing songs already, and people would fucking go hard for them as the opener. And so now that it's their time to headline, people are gonna love this album. They want to see him headline, be the headliner.
I mean, I think you're giving too much credit to their. I didn't even know you like leaving or however you say that, um, because they have been grinding hard and playing in like very not typical spots. Like they played in Plymouth, Michigan, dude.
What?
where we're from.
Who?
Prince Daddy
Where?
at the Cultural Center
The fuck?
at the park. Shout out park.
No.
Yeah, the PARC. The
It's really at the park?
it's where the old high school is.
Yeah.
Right, like right by where my parents' house
When
is.
was that?
That was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Dude, we should have went to that.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying.
And then
They've been grinding for
They
years. And I
yeah, and they
respect
also
it,
played a
I
house
love
show
it.
in Toledo with like 20 people. I was there.
Yes, that's why I love these guys.
But I would not say they were poised to blow up.
I think they were extremely poised to blow up. I think they were they they're dude like, and I'm happy for them. They're doing it, but like, you look at this band, and then you look at. I'm just gonna talk about this. I'm gonna go on a slight tangent because then you look at a band like Remo Drive. They also released their sophomore album this year. Remo Drive and so Remo Drive's album is called Natural Everyday Degradation. I would put that album almost exactly equal on par to the quality of Cosmic Thrill Seekers,
Absolutely not. That album was not good.
but they weren't poised to blow up.
Yes, they
Remo Drive was
were.
already headlining. Remo Drive headlined a tour where Prince Daddy was their first opener, not even their right before them. Just last year, I went to it, and everyone went crazy for Remo Drive. And like, that's what I'm saying. There's like these subconscious little things that poise bands when their album's about to come out. Is like, Remo Drive already had their moment of that with Greatest Hits, so people weren't excited to see like,
Dude, no
hey,
way.
you need to top Greatest Hits. Prince Daddy, everyone knows been grinding. Everyone knows they're the opener. But like, now that this is coming out, I don't know. That's how I view it.
That doesn't make sense though because they had You're Killing Me and I'm My Own Doctor and all that shit.
Exactly.
So people
Huge
were
thing.
already hyped about them and they want to know what's next, and if they don't deliver on it.
And if they don't meet those expectations, but meanwhile, Prince Daddy
But
doesn't have
Prince
a ton of
Daddy
expectations.
did meet those expectations.
Prince Daddy doesn't have a lot of expectations.
Yeah, they do.
No, because their songs off their first album were not nearly as popular as the Remo Drive's first songs off their first album.
You're telling me really and Brock Ched and like the I forgot to take my meds today are not like hype fucking big bangers from Prince Daddy? I think they're on the same level. Hello?
I think Steven had a little poopy.
Steve?
Steve had a little soupy poopy.
Let me Sorry, technical difficulties right before we're about to go into my number one.
Steve, where you at?
I'm disconnected.
Oh, there you go. You're back. Steven? Well, this is awkward.
Hello? Hello?
You good?
Yeah, we're good. Yes, Remo Drive's songs from their first album were 100%, 300 times bigger than Prince Daddy's. You're Killing Me was huge. I'm My Own Doctor. All of Greatest Hits, their Remo Drive's debut album, massive.
Yeah,
Prince
so
Daddy's debut album was not like nearly that impactful.
yeah, dude,
So
it
Remo
was.
Drive had a lot more expectations to live up to in terms of that, in terms of how popular these songs are and how much people love them, than Prince Daddy did.
Prince Daddy had expectations. I don't know what you're talking about.
It wasn't nearly as high. Was not nearly as high. That's just my take, though.
Well, do I have this on vinyl?
Yes.
Correct.
All right, 5 to 6.
I have the green and purple variant out of 900. So, this brings us to the number one album of the year for Ryan Morelli. The magnum opus, if you will, of 2019.
Okay.
This is Death is a Warm Blanket by Microwave.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
This album is fucking incredible. It is honestly, in my opinion, the best album of the year. When it came out in September, I wasn't really feeling it too much. Like, I thought it was alright, but then I was like, I don't know. I'll probably go back to it later. So I went back to it probably in like October, November, and I was like really feeling it. Like, okay, this is clicking with me. I'm listening to it every day. I'm listening to like certain songs and learning the songs and like getting really into this album. And when it came, I also saw them live. I saw them at the shelter in Detroit with Heart Attack Man. I didn't want to mention that earlier because I didn't want to sneak peek to my number one.
Hmm.
But it was a really great show. Um, they played a bunch of their new album, and I was really impressed by it. The crowd could have been better, but that's not something you can really control.
Typical
Um,
microwave crowd.
but I was just like, I don't think I'm comfortable putting any other album at number one besides this one. Like, just to give you some backstory, Microwave has been one of my favorite bands since like 2016, maybe 2015. I don't know, but they're they had Much Love, which made my number three in 20. What was it, 16 or 17? 2016. 2016, because that's when we started really doing like a presentation for our album of the year list. But this has gone, Microwave has gone from number three to number one, and that is super impressive. Um, I was awaiting their new release and just like eagerly anticipating it. Um, like I said, I was a little bit let down at the beginning, but then when I really started listening to it, I was like, this is a fucking magnum opus, dude. Like, it's kind of like post-hardcore with some pop punk, with some emo, with some indie rock, with some like pretty falsetto. Like, it just is so polished and so nice, and I just love it, dude. Like, it's so nice. Um, One thing that I wanted to mention is they don't play Vomit as their ending song anymore. Like,
What do they
I,
play?
I wouldn't say encore, but they do like they're they do a lot of stuff from Much Love, and then a lot of stuff from Death is a Warm Blanket, and then a few older songs, and then they do Vomit, and then Mirrors,
Hmm.
which Mirrors is a huge banger on Death is a Warm Blanket. So I'm alright with that. I'm cool with it, and I like it.
All right. Yeah, we did talk about this album on podcasts. Um,
Yeah. And at the time, I was like not sure if it was gonna be my number one,
yeah.
so that's why I talked about it. But yeah, I just kind of had to juke the audience a little bit and be like, "Yeah, I revealed my number one like a few weeks ago. Yeah, I did that."
Juked.
Oh yeah. I tried to get into this one too. I'm not nearly as big a microwave fan as you, or people like D Murph. I know is a huge microwave fan. So I don't. I'd be interested to hear his take on this album. I did like it. Definitely darker, heavier than Much Love. But yeah, it's cool, man. I didn't know you were that into it. So might have
Yeah,
to
I'm super into this album.
come back around on a second tip. I'm definitely interested to like listen to Mirrors now because I don't think I caught that one on my listen. But like I want to listen to it now, knowing that that's the last song they play and like their banger.
Um, so yeah, that is my album of the year. Do I have it on vinyl?
Yeah.
I'm
Steve?
I'm gonna say no.
We got a tie because I do have it on vinyl,
Dang.
and I have the alternate cover version that came out around Black Friday and is limited to 100.
Wow. Wait, that's insane.
100?
Yeah, only 100 of them in existence, and I have one.
That belongs in a museum.
Yeah, it do. And let me see. Let me see what the cover looks like so I can accurately give a description. It is a cobra guarding a weed plant, and it
Wait,
says,
Kush?
Yeah, like marijuana.
Okay.
And it says microwave death is a warm blanket, and it has a rated R like logo on it, and it's fucking memey and it's hilarious and it's awesome. And I will also note that when I saw Microwave, they had an entire section of their merch table dedicated to smoking, and it was called the smoking section or whatever. And they had rolling papers and grinders, and it was
The
hilarious.
fuck?
And lighters too.
I didn't know Microwave did that.
Yeah, they get down with the kush.
Microwave gets down the kush.
You know who I bet it is?
Who?
Tito.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
Tito's the guy with the bald guy with the glasses. If you look at the Much Love cover art,
Yeah, he's the drummer.
he's the one that I imagine is the most down to clown with that stuff. Yeah.
All right, so that was our album of the year episode.
Thank
We
you.
got a whole 2 hours. And Steven, you want to take it away?
I would like to say thank you to both of you guys for um, sharing your tastes and your touch and your feelies, getting deep in your feelies about these albums and telling exactly what they mean to you and why you like them. It's always a fun experience, fun year. 2019, I think we can all say was a great year, but we say that every year because every year is beautiful and new art is just getting pushed out every day. That's pushing the boundary and pushing what we know can, be done through the audio interface. So thank you to you guys. Thank you to the bands. Do we want to throw out some honorable mentions for this year? Some bands that or some albums we really liked didn't quite make the list.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, let's just go. Let's just start firing shit off. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say tonight. It's something we talked about on the podcast. A little trap group. They released LP2. So check that out. Someone else want to throw something out? Let's just start shooting. Honorable mentions, baby.
Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone.
Disagree, but you do you, boo boo.
Hollywood Bleeding.
It has some heaters on it. Got a lot of good melodies, catchy hooks, really good features. The Baby's on there. Young Thug is on there.
The baby.
Shout out to baby.
Meek Mill's on there too. Ozzy Osbourne is on there.
Kind of whack, but we're not going to talk about it. That's for another day. That's for another day. This is just time for everyone to air out their dirty laundry.
Get out your grievances.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw out Bad Flower. Released an album. Okay, I'm sick. Really cool. Really interesting. A little preachy on the veganism, but we're not. We eat meat around here. So good album though. Good music. Good sound. Heroin is a great song, and so is Ghost. So check those out. Cam, you got anything?
I didn't really prepare for a little shout out section.
What are you listening to, man? 2019. Come on.
Shit, man.
Just shout some out, man. Danny
I want to
Brown.
shout out the Schoolboy Q album that flopped. Really big floppage from Schoolboy Q.
Which one?
Crash Talk, but I call it Trash Talk.
Is that from this year?
Yeah.
Early this year, I remember that coming out. I do remember that.
So yeah, that flopped. What else flopped this year, boys? Let's talk about
Danny
flops.
Brown came out. Can we talk about the Danny Brown album? Because it was very interesting, but it didn't get a lot of traction, it seemed.
Haven't heard it.
I didn't
It's
care to listen to it,
weird.
honestly.
The thing is, the only way Danny Brown is getting traction back is if he drops another old. And
Yeah.
we all can admit that. He
That's
needs
true.
to drop, and then everyone's going to be back on the Danny Brown meta. But he hasn't done it. It seems like he can't do it since then. But I'm not going to, we'll see what happens with him.
He needs to.
Yeah, we need another old. Smoking and drinking. We need a
Speaking.
headstand. We need all those bangers. Skrillex. We need Skrillex production on Danny Brown song. Field Medic. I talked about Field Medic. He released an album called Fade Into the Dawn. Cool little cute project. It's very Field Medic-y, very folk, alternative folk. So that's cool. Angel Dust, pretty buff. It almost made my list. Angel Dust is a cool little. I don't even know what I'd classify this band as. It's a little ska, but everything's a little ska. A little reggae, a little funk. Like it kind of gives me a Just Friends vibe, Ryan.
Yeah.
Gives me a big Just Friends vibe. So Angel Dust, and that is Angel Dust spelled with a $ sign instead of an S. So you guys know how they get down. Um, yeah, Remote Drive I already mentioned. Natural Everyday Degradation is about on par with Cosmic Thrill Seekers for me. So,
Yeah.
not to throw shade at anybody right now, but it gets a little shady at the year endless podcast. Um, anyone else? What do we get?
Um.
The World Is. I'd say
Yeah,
they dropped.
Assorted Works.
Yeah, Sorted Works was great, but I didn't feel comfortable. It's a collective, so you can't really call it album of the year, but it's definitely like that was a capstone piece of what they can do.
Yeah.
So, oh, I do want to shout out the Blue EP. This is a new EP from Death Cab for Cutie. EPs don't really make the list much because it's album of the year list, not EP of the year list. But the Blue EP was really cool. Check that out. It's got personal favorites: Kids in '99, very nostalgic track, To the Ground, great build up. Man in Blue, I'd say it's my personal favorite. It's only a 5-track EP, so really quick to get through. Uh, yeah.
One last thing I want to shout out is the EP Madrigal by Equipment from Toledo. I already talked about it on a podcast, but they have a really good EP that came out this year. Different sound, very like pop punk, indie, emo shit. Really good. Wet Mulch is a great song, so is Raptured Tracks 1 and 2.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up. Ring in the new year, boys. It's 2020. We're excited for a great year. We're going to bring you cutting edge music knowledge. Cutting edge, right off the fucking record room floor. We're going to bring it to you. New tracks. Be on the lookout, guys. We're going to be getting these. This might be the first podcast that you guys actively hear on your favorite streaming service, yet to be discussed. But
Yeah, I did want to bring that up. I'm working on getting our podcast, a Valiant Effort podcast, onto Spotify, Apple Podcasts, stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that, and we will have all the earlier episodes um, on there as well, just whenever we get it up. But be on the
yeah,
lookout.
be on the lookout. We're excited to bring you all the content in 2020. The holidays were rough for us, It gets busy, and this is a pretty new podcast, so we did drop a couple weeks, but 2020, we're going to be trying to give you guys episodes every week, consistent schedule, so you guys can tune in every week. We'll chop it up, chop it down.
Also, tune into our YouTube channel, A Valiant Effort on YouTube, because we will be making lots of music opinion videos, maybe even some video game gameplay videos.
Gaming videos. We might do some music, some production videos where we got a whole laundry list of ideas we want to get out.
May also be premiering new music in the new year.
Music.
Hint,
Oh,
hint,
yeah.
wink, wink.
That's a big wink. Yep.
It's a hoodwink.
Not a hoodwink. That one Disney movie, but.
Alright, so it's been about 2 hours. I'm going to let Steven take us out, but thanks for watching or listening, tuning in. Steven, you wanna
Signing
take it away?
off. Signing off. Valiant Effort. That's 2019. You do you, and buckle my shoe. Kisses.
Mwah.
Mwah.